Hi, ladies. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2019, and I am 35 weeks and 3 days pregnant. I feel like I haven't updated you guys in a while, even though I did do a quick update last week, but it wasn't much. It was just to let you know how my compression socks were working, and I think they're still working. My feet and ankles are still a little swollen, but not as bad as they used to be before I had them, so I still recommend the compression socks or compression stockings or some sort of compression garment if you are suffering from edema or mild to moderate swelling in your feet and legs and ankles, like I was or am still. Um, but so let me tell you, the past 2 days I have just been in almost a panic mode. Yesterday, well, it goes back before yesterday. Over the weekend, as you know, I have high blood pressure off and on during this pregnancy and am at risk for preeclampsia. So over the weekend, I took my blood pressure, and I think it was on Sunday, and it was like 157 over like 80 something. I don't remember, like 80, 84 or something like that. And it had never been that high, especially me taking it at home. And first of all, I don't even get high readings. So to get it that high was crazy. Now, when did I take it? I took it in the middle of the night, which I would think would make, I was resting, so it should have made it even lower. And honestly, I hadn't taken it in a few days. I was really bad and neglectful, and I hadn't taken it in a few days. And so I was taking it because I woke up in the middle of the night to pee again, and my hands were tight and swollen. And I just was like, let me take my blood pressure. And I do suffer from hand swelling in addition to the feet and legs. So I said, let me take my blood pressure. So I woke up, peed, came back, decided to take my blood pressure, and it was high. So then I'm up. Now I'm like wide awake because I'm freaking out about my blood pressure. And I'm like, oh my God, do I go to the hospital? What do I do? Does this mean I have preeclampsia? Like, what's going on? What do I do? So I tried to go back to sleep. Maybe not the smartest answer, but I thought about it. I said, well, you don't have any of the other symptoms. Like, I didn't have a headache. I didn't have double vision or any of that. Not double vision, blurred vision or double vision. So I felt fine other than my hands feeling a little swollen and tight. But other than that, I felt fine. And if not for me taking my blood pressure, I wouldn't have known that anything was actually wrong. So I was kind of panicking a little bit. Now I'm panicking. And so I just tried to relax, and I ended up going back to sleep. But then I woke up a few hours later. By this time it was early morning, and I took my blood pressure again, and it was still high. It was it was still high. It was in the same range as it was before. It was like 151 over like 80 something. So I was still like kind of upset, and I was like, well, what do I do? I still felt fine, but I'm like, okay, it's been elevated. What do I do? Do I go to the hospital? Do I, I didn't think to call. I don't know why. But I was like, do I go to the emergency room, or do I just wait or whatever? So I ended up waiting. Don't be me. If you have something, call at very least, or go, but don't wait like I did. Even though I ended up being fine, but just don't wait. So Monday came around, and Monday morning I decided to just call and see what was going on. So I spoke with the nurse, and she told me to take my blood pressure again. And I was carrying my blood pressure monitor with me at the time, and she told me to take my blood pressure, like, you drink some water, relax, calm down, take my blood pressure, then take it 10-15 minutes later if it's high, and then call her back, and then we'd go from there. So I did that. I took my blood pressure, It was still elevated. It was 134 over 84, but nowhere near what it was. She being the nurse, also asked me if I had some of the symptoms, as I was saying, the headaches, the blurred vision, also gastrointestinal pain. I believe all of those are signs of preeclampsia. And I told her no, I didn't have any of that. So she said, well, you can, just take your blood pressure and let's see where it is. So I took it. It was 134 over 84. Then I'm at work now because it's Monday, and I went ahead and went to work. And where I go to the hospital is literally a 5-minute walk from my office. So then, and I still went to work. So then I was at my office and I was getting ready to take the next reading at 10 to 15 minutes later. And then all of a sudden, someone like starts knocking on the door while I'm in the middle of taking the reading. So, of course, I was kind of startled from that. And then it kind of interrupted me. So then when the reading came through, it came in at like 141 over like 90. And I was like, well, we were just in a better range. So then I said, okay, well, you know what? Let me try to take it a little later. So I, took it probably, I don't know, half an hour later. And I was kind of doing work and talking and stuff in between that. Then I went and tried to sit down and take it. And then it was like 151 over something. I don't even remember. Then I was like freaking out. So I took it again. And it was 160 over 101. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. Let me run down the street to the hospital or something. Then I waited an hour. I forced myself to calm down. I said, listen, because now it's just panicking and I'm freaking out and it's getting higher and higher. So I forced myself to calm down. And then I took it again. And at that point, it was 138 over like 84 or something like that. So again, still elevated, but not nearly what it was. And so I called the nurse back after that. And when I spoke to her, she said, okay, so and I told her the whole story about it going up, like, all the way up to the 160s, coming down. And she said that was probably just situational because whatever I was doing and being at work, but that I should just go ahead and just try to stay calm, and I could come in on Wednesday because I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, which was already scheduled. She didn't feel that it was a rush that I needed to run in that day. So I didn't go. I just tried to stay calm. I didn't take my blood pressure anymore yesterday. That was it. Like, I was done with the blood pressure after that. I just said, listen, I'll take it again the next day. Now, my understanding from the nurse is that even without the symptoms of preeclampsia, which can include the swelling in your hands and your feet, it's supposed to be severe swelling, also swelling in your face, which I don't think I had. And like I said, those other symptoms, the headaches, the vision changes, blurriness, and the gastrointestinal pain, or like a sharp pain in your right side. Someone had told me, a different nurse had told me at one point. So those are like symptoms of preeclampsia. But I didn't have any of that. But even if you don't have those symptoms, but your blood pressure stays elevated, they would have still wanted me to come in. And then the thing is, if I came in and they took the blood pressure and it was high, then she was going to send me to labor and delivery to have me evaluated. And apparently they take blood tests and all of that when you're up there. So I never got to that point, thank God. I hope to not get to that point until I have to be in labor and delivery, because I'm laboring and delivering. But I don't want to have to go there for that. One, because if everything's okay, it would probably be a really long time up there and getting evaluated and getting these tests run and waiting for the test to come back. But two, it's just, the whole thing is nerve-wracking. I just, I'm just hoping and praying to get to at least 38 weeks so I can get induced, since that is what my doctor planned to do anyway. So that was yesterday. And then today, this morning took my blood pressure was 138 over 80, 88, I believe it was. So again, still a little high, but I can live with it. And again, I didn't have any of the symptoms. So I felt I was fine. But this is where today kind of went left on me. Around 1:50 this afternoon, someone was in my office. We were talking about work, and I'm going to be honest, my job has not been the best about the pregnancy. They have been on the surface, but on the low, they continue to give me a lot of work, and I'm kind of really backed up in work. And I know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because when I gotta go. But I have a really strong work ethic. I like to get my things done. I like to get them done within a timely manner, and I like to get them, I like to put my stamp on things, my work, So to the extent that I'm working on something, is a certain level and quality that I expect it to have. But they know that, and I'm a pretty hard worker, so they dumped a whole bunch of stuff on me, despite the fact that I'm almost 9 months pregnant. So I actually had to ask them to stop giving me work. They did not voluntarily do it, although they said they would. They did not, and I had to be the one to say, hey, enough. And even then, I was probably a little late to saying that, because I already had a huge workload. So I am a little, resentful for the fact that they did continue to do that and give me this work at a time where I'm not asking for special treatment or a lighter workload because I'm pregnant. I'm definitely willing to pull my share, but the amount of work that I have, probably I would not be able to get done or nearly close to done before the baby is born. So that's what my concern was. And ultimately the job, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it's a compliment or insult. If it's a compliment to say like, oh, you're so good that we want you to just kind of look at these things before you go, or is it insult where they're just dumping stuff on me? I don't know. Either way, the result's the same, and I've been pissed off about it and kind of stressed at trying to get things done. But that's that. So anyway, I was having a meeting about some work stuff, and I'm sitting in it, and no one could tell, but around 1:50 this afternoon, I start getting these real bad back cramps, almost like period or menstrual cramps, just all in my back and lower abdomen, but mainly in my back. And they were like cramping up, and then I'm like, should I be, in the beginning I kind of dismissed it, but then I started to think, well, should I be like timing these, or these contractions? I don't know what a contraction feels like. So I start trying to time them, but they're painful, and I'm like, they come in pretty frequently, like, happening every few minutes, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this like, am I in labor? Is this what it feels like? It kind of ramped up pretty quickly from 0 to 100, and I'm like, well, that's crazy. Then I'm sitting here in my office, like trying to move around. It's uncomfortable to sit, because kind of like those, period cramps to some extent, all in my back. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So then I have the urge to poop. I know that's a little too much, but then I'm having the urge to poop, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know nothing about having no babies, but I do know that don't sound good, because I hear that that's what it feels like, when the baby's moving down or something like that, like, or when you need to push, is like the pooping feeling. So I go to the bathroom, because I'm like, okay, well, what is this? What, and it was nothing, but I just didn't know what was going on. And so then I'm like, do I go to the hospital? Now I'm like, okay, do I go to the hospital? I didn't even think about calling the hospitals. I was already at work. The hospital is literally a 5-minute walk. So I just get up and go. Now it lasted for a while, because it started around 1:50 and it did not end. Well, it did end, right? It did not end until a little after 4. So for a while, I was sitting here with these intermittent pains, and they would like lighten up, but then they come back, and I'm just like, oh gosh, no, I don't know what to do. Now, they weren't getting more intense, but every time I thought they stopped, they'd come back. And they weren't that far from each other. So then I get ready to go then walked in the street to the hospital. I go to the bathroom again, and I was walking around, and someone had asked me a question. I started talking, and then I realized they stopped, and they had stopped. So, but now I'm like, I don't want to go home and they get worse, or go home in the middle of the night and then, I'm right here now. Should I go get checked? Like, I didn't know what to do. So I went ahead and went to the hospital. Now, I didn't go to the emergency room. I went to the doctor's office. So my doctor's office and the hospital are pretty much in the same building. So I went to the doctor's office and I spoke with her. Well, not my doctor. I'm sorry. I did not speak with my doctor. I spoke with the nurse. And she told me that, well, first she asked, what was I dehydrated? And I said, I don't know, maybe. But she said that dehydration and or stress can cause preterm contractions. Something I did not know. So, I try to drink a lot of water during the day, but, if I get distracted or if I'm, I may not have had enough to drink today. I don't know. There was also the factor of being stressed. I do know I have been stressed out with work lately, which I do think affects my blood pressure. So if nothing else, I would be happy to get this break off while I'm on maternity leave. But to be honest with you, I was I was the pain. I told her it was an intense cramping. Like, all I could explain is like period cramps. I don't know. I had nothing to compare it to. It was primarily in my back and somewhat in my lower abdomen, but it was somewhat scary to a person who's never had that. I've had period cramps, don't get me wrong, but not when I'm pregnant. And so I didn't know what to do, but she told me basically to go home and relax and hydrate, and that's fine. So this is 3 days in a row, because tomorrow I'll make 3 days in a row, because I actually have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. So I've been all over the doctor the last 2 days, but the nurse did say that it's good to always be in contact and to call, and just to make sure, because you don't want to mess around with these symptoms. And in my case, because they did go away, they just thought it was probably dehydration or inner stress that could have caused some preterm contractions. She said had they persisted, she would have sent me to labor and delivery. And there they go again, labor and delivery. But because she didn't think it was anything to worry about, because normal, if you were in labor, your contractions don't stop. They intensify, which mine had stopped at that point. Then on my way home, they started up again. So I started having some more back pain, and that was it wasn't intense as it was before. But as soon as I got home, I decided to drink some water and relax, which is kind of what I'm doing now. It's kind of propping myself up on my pregnancy pillow or maternity pillow, whatever you want to call it, and decided to tell you guys about what was happening, because I did not know that was possible. I don't know anything about this, so I'm kind of muddling through, but I did not know that dehydration or stress, well, I guess it's logical that stress could cause it, but I didn't know that dehydration could cause preterm contractions. And to be honest, I hadn't had as much to drink today as I usually do, so it may have been dehydration. When you're pregnant, it's so easy to get dehydrated, because you have to drink so much all the time, even when you're not thirsty. So I don't think I did. And then another fun fact, because of the last 2 days, because the way I'd been feeling with my blood pressure, concerned about my blood pressure, I didn't even work out, because I thought that may elevate my blood pressure. So I'd really been trying to take it easy. So then today to have these contractions and all this in my back, I really thought something was going on. But I'm happy it's not. And again, when I got off the train, I had the pains and the cramping again. But again, it subsided. So I think it was really getting somewhere and getting hydrated and relaxing, which was going to be the main thing to hopefully help. And I hope they don't come back because I don't want to feel that again unless I'm in labor. I really don't. I mean, it wasn't like the worst cramps in the world, at least not what I was experiencing. But I say this, if not for being pregnant and I was feeling that because my period was on, I would have popped some Midol and curled up somewhere probably. So, and I normally don't take pain medication, but Midol, Pamprin, I don't care, Tylenol, Aleve, Excedrin, something was going to get popped because I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to feel like this. But again, it went away, but it did last for over an hour. I guess maybe like 2 hours, honestly. So it was kind of crazy. But anyway, it did stop. So that's that. So another quick symptom I want to tell you about the last few days, especially today also, I've noticed I have like soreness in my groin area, and not my actual groin, but like in the joints. So like sometimes walking and stuff like that in the hip and groin area, I have soreness in my joints. So this is a new one, but it's mainly in like the groin, inner thigh joint area. I don't know if that's like the pelvic area opening or loosening or whatever happens. I know your joints loosen up and you get more soreness down there. I don't know if the baby is dropped. I think it might have, given the amount of times I'm going to the bathroom. But I don't know, ladies. This pregnancy thing is a beast, and doing it once is crazy. Well, doing it once is amazing. Doing it more than once is crazy. I'm telling you guys. Anyone out there who is in love with doing this stuff, oh my God, I can't imagine. I don't know if you'll see me in like 2 years doing another video because I'm like, oh, I'm having another baby. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. I don't. Like, every mother out there, mothers are the most amazing beings ever. Like, it's just hands down, no comparison, no argument. Like, who didn't know this? I didn't know this. I mean, I love my mom and all of that, but I did not. Like, now it's just like, what? You did what? When you realize what this does to your body and how it takes over and the sacrifices that you make, and I don't necessarily mean work and all of that, but the sacrifices just for allowing some other being to take and be a part of your body and to the resources and everything you go through. Please, a man could not do that. So, well, I mean, they can't physically, but they wouldn't. I mean, it's just such a selfless act. So, I tell you, I mean, so much respect to, all the moms out there. It's just crazy that, what your body does. Because as I experienced it firsthand, I'm like, ooh, had I known, I might not have been doing this. But anyway, ladies, I have an appointment tomorrow with an OBGYN, one of the ones on staff with my OBGYN, because I'm still doing the rotation of seeing different doctors. And then on Thursday, I have another growth scan, ultrasound. Or no, not a growth scan. I think I have a biophysical scan. It doesn't matter. It looks like ultrasound either way. So from my perspective, it looks the same, but I think they're measuring different stuff. Like they measure the fluids, the amniotic fluid and the baby's movement and heart rate and all of that. Because then after that, I get the non-stress test where they monitor the heart rate. So this is my life right now. And then after this, I guess it'll be all baby. But just wanted to give you an update, and I will probably update you later this week if anything eventful happens. But who knew about this preterm contraction stuff? I knew of Braxton Hicks, but this was not Braxton Hicks. Braxton Hicks is like the tightening that you feel, and sometimes it could be painful, and it's usually your uterus and abdomen, but this is not Braxton Hicks. Like, this was like all up in my back. Well, the nurse said preterm contractions, but I don't know. Anyway, I need this baby to stay put for at least a few more weeks, but if nothing else, a few more days, because to be honest, I don't want to have a Gemini. No offense to you Geminis, but you guys are crazy, so I don't want a Gemini. So I'm trying to get out of Gemini season before this baby is born. Anyway, ladies, talk to you later.